It's the easiest intro in the world.
It is. It's literally just hello.
Hello, how's it going?
And we can't get it right.
Hey, Star Wars fans, welcome back to another episode of Rebel Watch. I'm Ez. This is Mike. How's it going today, Mike?
It's going very well, my friend.
Awesome. That is good to hear. I like your jacket.
Oh, I like yours as well.
Thank you.
Where'd you get that jacket?
I got this at Star Wars Celebration.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for those of you that are listening, Mike is wearing a sick Luke Skywalker jacket. It's got a nice little rebel patch on the side there.
Got the pockets, just missing the blaster and the lightsaber, but
it's pretty sick though.
Feeling it.
It's awesome.
Yours is a Cassian-inspired Rogue One jacket.
Yeah, right here on the sleeve, and it's got a Rogue One patch on it, which is pretty awesome.
Are you sweating yet?
Yeah, actually, we had to crank the air up to like 68 in here.
Good,
down to 68.
Good. Hey, before we get started, I do have a joke for you.
What do you got?
If that's okay, real quick one here. What do you call a cow with 3 legs?
I have no idea.
It's lean beef.
That's terrible, actually.
Okay. That's actually
That's terrible. We have a lot of vegetarians that I think watch the show.
Yes. In that case,
good.
Forget everything you
Sorry
deserve.
we mentioned that.
I'll think of a nice vegetable joke.
We do want to mention, guys, we were advertised on Podbean last weekend during Celebration, which was really cool. So we got a lot of followers on there. So thanks for listening on Podbean. We also, because of that, we decided to create ourselves a Patreon account.
Hello.
Whoa.
Hello.
Big step. Now, here's why we decided to do this. One, because we need a healthy supply of McDoubles on the show.
It's a problem.
It really is. Oh, man, we ate so much McDonald's.
It was disgusting.
Oh, hey. We also saw these guys.
Hello.
Blast points at McDonald's.
Super nice guys.
Look, we're advertising for McDonald's right now.
Yeah, probably.
But anyways, so we started a Patreon account, and really, we're going to have a couple different types of shows going on. We love to do our theories videos and talk about Star Wars, what have you. But we're also going to have a light speed round.
Okay.
Where we have Mike's going to come up with 5 questions, yes or no. I'm going to come up with 5 questions as well about Star Wars, and hopefully it'll stimulate some good conversation between us and you folks out there on YouTube and on iTunes and Podbean. But this is the chance. Patreon is a chance for you guys to go. If you want to supply our McDouble habit or help us with that would be great. But also, if you go to, we have different tiers. You go check it out because actually the tiers are pretty hilarious.
Great.
I thought we got pretty creative with that.
Yes.
You can be a lieutenant, a commander, a general.
Is there a captain in there?
There's a captain in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was pretty clever.
Absolutely.
But just take a look at it and have a good laugh if you want. Really, it gives you a chance for you, the listener or the viewer, to submit some questions that we will actually read and advertise for you on the show. Also, if you go top dollar, I think it's like the commander level, we will read your Snoke theory on the show.
Absolutely.
And talk about it. Some of you have great theories in the comments. We read the Snoke, Rey, Luke. It can be anything. It's really just a Star Wars theory. Today we're talking about Luke Skywalker. Just want to throw that out there in case you're interested.
And to be honest, it's not just the McDouble habit that you'll be assisting with. We are looking to upgrade equipment. Since we went to Celebration, we had a lot of fun there. So we'd like to go to other conventions to maybe kind of help with the channel and get some more on. I really liked filming at the Hilton and doing a little on location stuff at the convention floor. So that was really fun. So that's what mostly you'll be helping with. Yeah. With a few McDoubles.
And a few McDoubles, yeah. But no, I mean, when we were there at the Hilton, somebody asked us what we learned. Wow, the lighting. We got better. We're working on our lighting. We're working on... Trying. We're just kind of nervous down there in front of everybody, walking by. And I think we had, in one of our videos, we had things too compressed. And so just a little tweaking, getting used to it. And how do you pack up all this stuff and take it on the road?
No idea.
So it's fun. It's been a fun learning process. Also, I got a private message from one of our listeners/viewers. It was this mother, and basically letting us know that her 9-year-old son, Landon, calls us the Star Wars dudes.
Love it.
Landon,
what's up, Landon?
You're the man, buddy. And that actually just made our day. He is a stud. I am sure of it. He likes to listen to our theories and things. So we wanted to give a big shout out to Landon and say thanks, man. We really appreciate it.
And a big shout out to his dog, Star Wars.
Yeah, he has a dog named Star Wars.
He's a huge Star Wars fan.
Huge Star Wars fan.
It's awesome.
So that's actually really cool. super stoked about that. Also, the hat, Mike.
So sick.
I don't normally wear hats, but I saw this hat and I had to get it at Celebration, so we're just kind of decked out in our Star Wars Celebration stuff. Sorry if we look kind of corny.
We just want to show it off.
We just want to show it off.
It may be every episode.
It may be.
It looks good, though.
So today, our topic is, what's up with Mark Hamill's comments about Episode 8?
No clue. I think he was drunk.
Was he drunk?
I think he was.
Oh, man. He made some pretty... his comments were... They were something.
They were very telling. They were.
Yeah, they were eye-opening and telling. So we're going to go ahead and play those for you right now.
When I read 8, I told Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character. But, other than that, I can't really describe more. But it was as shocking to me to read what Ryan had written as I'm sure it will be for the audience.
Do you make a turn to the dark side? Is that possible?
It's possible. Anything's possible. You know what happened? I read one theory and I said to Ryan, I said, this is the one I want to do. And it was...
Did you have a say in it?
No.
Okay, cool. So also along with that, he says, as you just saw there, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything that you've decided about my character. He said that to Ryan Johnson.
Speaking of Ryan Johnson, yeah.
So I don't know. And then also Daisy Ridley, which we didn't show, she said that she's like, I think we need to have a chat concerning the script when she first read it.
Yes.
Does that have you worried, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
But in the panel, they seem to have...
Is that staged? Do you think they were told to say that?
I don't think Mark Hamill stages very well.
Nope.
I don't think he does. I think they were being very honest, but something has. They've earned. They trust Ryan Johnson now. It's the panel made that clear.
Okay, that's true. I think they do trust him, and I think Mark Hamill goes on to say something like, but it might be a good sign I was really wrong about The Force Awakens.
Exactly.
So he goes on to say that, but I also think Mark Hamill wanted to go on record saying this before.
In case it's bad.
I'm serious. I actually think he wanted to go on record saying this because he fundamentally disagrees with virtually everything you've decided about my character. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the teaser poster, and you've got Luke Skywalker in red, Ben Solo in red, Rey with the light side, the blue aura around her holding up the lightsaber. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And then to hear Luke Skywalker say that the Jedi Order needs to end, I'm starting to understand why he might have said what he said. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Anyways, that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to talk about in this video, what is Luke Skywalker's role in Episode 8? Yep. What's going on with Luke? Yeah. All right, because he doesn't seem like he's in a great place. We've speculated in general about Episode 8 a lot. We've even done, but I just think things have changed now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that the trailer has influenced some of what we think. We have a couple questions here we want to ask just to kind of guide us through this. Number one is a big one. It's a big question. Has he turned to the dark side? Has Luke Skywalker turned to the dark side? Or did he turn at some point?
I'm giving that a big fat no.
No, that's a no. Now, hold on. Follow-up question. Yeah. Did he tamper? Did he dabble?
Did he dabble in it?
Did he dabble in it?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know, man. I think he. I don't know that his guidance all along was, he's asking Yoda, is the dark side stronger? And really, all we got was Yoda. No, it's not. It's not. But no one's there coaching him through. He doesn't really have an on-the-fly sort of master like Obi-Wan did. Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan's in combat and he's able to communicate and talk with Qui-Gon Jinn, unlike Luke and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was able to help him when they destroyed the first Death Star. Yeah. Telling him to let go,
That's true.
Switches off his targeting computer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I don't know that I do think he has dabbled in it, but not because he wanted to. I think it's just sort of, he doesn't have the guidance really, and it's his emotions, or he's learning things in a different way, on his own learning, really.
He sounds a lot like Ezra Bridger.
He sounds a lot like Ezra Bridger, yes. Or maybe Ezra Bridger in the future. You mean after
maybe
season
Ezra
4.
Bridger is Snoke.
Wow. Somebody asked me that, by the way. My name is Ezra, and they said, they asked me, so are you Snoke?
Maybe.
I don't know. No. Next question. Has Luke Skywalker given up Has he given up, Mike? What do you think?
A little bit. I do. At least maybe not in destroying this new enemy, but maybe just, obviously he says Jedi need to end, so he's not too keen on continuing down that path.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think he's completely given up.
No.
I mean, he went there to learn something. He didn't just go to Octu to just stay in these rock caves.
Right.
It wasn't a vacation.
That's true. Yeah, he is seeking some sort of, guidance or something. But I do think he maybe feels defeated.
Absolutely feels defeated. Yeah,
I think he feels
defeated.
defeated. Yeah, he looks defeated. Yeah, sounds it. I mean, he is still coaching Rey though when he's saying. It seems like, anyways.
Yeah.
When he says breathe, just breathe.
And does that sound like? I mean, maybe they kind of put effects on his voice or whatever. But is that him speaking to her? Maybe in her trial or like?
You mean like in a through the Force?
Yeah, both of them kind of sound like they're in a. I don't know. Not like it's like.
Yeah, it could be deep down in those caves somewhere. I don't know. I get what you're saying. It seems kind of echoey or it seems distant, like they're speaking to each other in a distant sort of.
Maybe it's not
Force
direct
connection.
audio from the movie, but yeah, it's interesting.
So we're going to get into our theory here in just a second. These are just questions to help us, kind of get through this. Yeah. Has he gone a little crazy like Yoda in Episode 5? Is he a little on the?
Maybe that's why Mark Hamill's concerned about his character, because he's like, he's a little too much like Yoda.
Yeah,
because in past videos we've talked about these birds that are on the island, and maybe he's kind of developed. I'm
sorry, I thought you were going with the seagulls reference.
Oh yeah,
bad
seagulls,
lip.
Yeah, flying ahead.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So maybe he's a little crazy and he doesn't like that. Maybe he thinks it's too much like Yoda.
Maybe I think it's more just angry old man.
Yeah, it could be.
Who doesn't really. I don't know. Maybe he's just resistant at first, etc. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Our next question: does Leia need to help center Luke or remind him of who he is?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yes,
I think so too. I think that's going to be a big. See, one of our questions later on is, and we're going to skip that. Is does Luke stay on Octu? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I think this is if we're looking
boring.
Yeah, I think that's just way too much like Episode 5. He stays there and then Rey goes off. I think this time, If Luke's learned anything from his past, he needs to go with her and continue to tutor and to train her, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's going to go with her, and I think there's going to be some reunion between Luke and Leia. That's good. That's really going to help Luke, I hope.
Yeah.
And just because we saw everything that we saw here doesn't necessarily mean that Luke doesn't change.
Yeah.
In this movie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mark Hamill brought up a really good point. During Celebration, he was talking about how his character, how essentially Carrie Fisher's character and Harrison Ford's character, Han Solo, and Princess Leia, sort of stayed the same throughout Episodes 4, 5, and 6, and that he was the one who really evolved and changed. Now, that's going to be really interesting to see. Is that what is going to happen with Rey and Daisy Ridley's character? Who is it that changes and evolves the most? Is it Finn? Or do those characters stay sort of the same? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, if Rey goes Darkside, she really changes.
Well, that would really, I don't know that that's going to happen.
But I think Finn is probably one of the characters you'd say that surprises us. Didn't he say something about that in the panel where he really has his moment and steps it up and comes out, and it seems like he might be the big kind of
that would be
game changer.
That would be neat. But I just kind of I don't know. It made me think about like, does Mark Hamill's character, this older Luke Skywalker, is he going to evolve, or is he, when we meet him, is he pretty much where he's at? Does Rey influence or change him in any way?
I think she will, and I think, like you said,
more
Leia,
of a dynamic character.
Yeah, I think Leia will too. I think Leia will be kind of that optimistic character like Luke Skywalker was in 5.
Yeah,
and maybe Luke will just be kind of like an old ghost force ghost. What the heck?
What do you mean in Episode 9?
It's the Mad Tree. It could be. I don't know. Maybe he kind of doesn't think that Kylo Ren's redeemable after everything he's seen. I don't know.
You mean kind of paralleling like, the Obi-Wan and Yoda kind of giving up on Vader.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more machine than man, and basically he needs to be killed versus turned back to the...
I think so.
Yeah. That could be. And then Rey's sort of... Rey and maybe even Leia reminding Luke that, hey, no. There's still good in him. There's still light in him, and we can still redeem him.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I'm not really going to ask this as a question, but I kind of think Luke feels responsible for letting the dark side prosper.
Absolutely.
I think that's sort of the thing. You look at how when Obi-Wan and Yoda sort of went into exile, the Jedi were defeated, and Emperor Palpatine and Vader are prospering. The dark side is in power and ruling. I do think the rule of two is gone.
Yeah.
I think that was sort of, I think Vader basically, that's his bringing balance back to things. That's done and over. So it might not be balanced in the way that we think. I think it should be balanced.
Does have kind of regrets maybe for how he handled the training. I know the new canon book, Heir to the Jedi, he expresses kind of just, he really wishes he would have had more time to train and things like that, but he actually does go through some Force training or more understandings of the Force through someone else. I can't even remember what their name is, but that was after episode 4. So there's quite a bit of time in there, but there are references of him kind of saying, you know, I wish I would have been able to do more and this and that. So he may still feel that way, especially after starting a whole new Jedi Academy and it just going to crap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So the regrets are probably just
he's full of
insane.
Yeah. Yep, I think that's where he's at. All right, so our big question, and really where we're going to go from here on out with the rest of this podcast is, why does the Jedi Order need to end? Why does it need to end? I mean, Luke says that if there's one thing that he knows to be true, is that the Jedi need to end. Why is that, Mike?
Because they just don't have maybe they just don't have a broad enough understanding of the Force in its entirety. And I think that the trailer kind of tells us that when he says, like, what do you see? She says the light, the darkness, and what does he say then?
It's so much bigger. Yeah.
So,
and so either it's so much bigger or and so much bigger.
So it might not be just like the Jedi completely ending, maybe just like their thought process, the way they study the Force needs to change.
Right.
And maybe she disagrees with that. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of tension as to how they're going to proceed. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah. I think for people who are thinking that Luke's going to change his mind or that this is not going to be the way that it's going to go, they're wrong. I think Pablo Hidalgo has come out and said that basically there are no Sith in episode 7.
Yeah, and
so Snoke is not a Sith Lord. He doesn't adhere to that order. There's I think 2 new orders or 2 new sides are going to be established.
Yeah.
That's really what I think is going to happen.
Or maybe not, I don't know, maybe no sides. Pablo went out of his way to tweet all these different things about the Force and that it's pretty much everything.
Yes.
Pretty much. So, I mean...
Well, yeah, and we have a video where we talk about the Force being explained, and we talk about that the Jedi are just an order. They live by this code. There are people that are Force sensitive that actually they bring in as younglings, and they train, and they don't get to be Jedi, and they go and work in other fields and things. So there's still Force-sensitive people out there who just didn't have really what the Jedi saw the caliber to become a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that they couldn't be Force-sensitive or even continue to grow.
Yeah.
Count Dooku ends up leaving the Order.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're just orders. They each have sort of their own code and this rule and things. And but I think those are gone and they're broken. And I think it makes sense now to tell that story. The title, The Last Jedi, makes sense it correlates with Pablo's comments about there being no Sith in episode 7.
Yeah.
And when Snoke says that he wants to continue to train, or now it's time to start Ben Solo or Kylo Ren's training, what's that going to look like? I think it's completely different. And that's why I think Luke has discovered that there's so much more to this. And we're at a time where I tried to do things the old way. I tried to follow this Jedi Code, but he almost goes to it seems like he finds an ancient text that is beyond, it was before holocrons. It's a time before holocrons. It's a time before the Jedi, and he's learned something in these Force trees, perhaps, Force visions that have taught him that we need to go back to the beginning, back to the roots.
Or did he learn something from Snoke?
Did he learn? Yeah, maybe he did.
I mean, like you mentioned, Snoke or Kylo, none of them mention the Sith.
Right.
They do mention the dark side. I mean, when Laura Santeca struck down, he says, I'll show you the dark side.
Yes.
Or was that's that moment, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's mentioned. So there can still be a light and a dark side, but maybe the Sith and the Jedi. Maybe Luke understands. Maybe he even knows Snoke. We talked about that a while back.
I actually think there is a history between Luke Skywalker and Snoke,
and so he may know that they've abandoned whatever the Sith were doing to fail, and they've kind of come to whatever this is. They've kind of come to power now with the First Order,
right?
And so now we need to respond.
Yep. And I think he was waiting. Maybe he had a vision, and it was waiting for someone to come to him to maybe access this. We talked in another video. He needs a Padawan or someone. There needs to be two Force-sensitive people, a master and an apprentice, to open this temple. Perhaps. I kind of think though he's been here. I don't think it's like that. I think I think those temples are Jedi temples.
Yes.
Now, I know that Han Solo says that he went back to find the first Jedi temple. But I'm guessing if he goes to the first Jedi temple, what was before the Jedi, I'm sure they have some records as to what they were before that or how things broke down. Also, I think all of this is leading up to when Disney sort of reevaluates where they're going to go with the future of Star Wars. I think we're going to have some Old Republic stuff come back.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You have like Kylo's lightsaber and the connection with Old Republic sabers and Rebels with Ezra finding that at the old Sith temple.
Yep.
So I think they are going in that direction. I think Old Republic's going to become maybe not what we know it to be, but I think it's going to become canon. But it's just going to.
I think they're going to have to read. They're going to be more books and games and things, and they're going to define it and shape it.
Too rich of a history.
Yeah. Well, there's also too much there for them to just sort of say all of this is now canon. I'm bits and pieces of it that they like. Darth Revan and things like that, they'll bring those back in, I think. But they'll start to tell their own story again. Yeah. Why wouldn't they? They can make all sorts of money with a new book or a new game or what have you. So, all right. So, Rey's training, the way Luke is training Rey.
Yeah.
So, Snoke is now training Kylo Ren, right? So, Snoke's training Kylo Ren. Luke is training Rey. We are establishing two new sides. I don't really think we've not really seen that, right? It's always been that, when Darth Maul shows up in Episode 1, he has been trained, he's ready to reveal himself. Yeah. Right now you have two people who are kind of paralleling each other and being trained. Now, Ben is ahead of Rey in a sense, but the Force, again, going back to Pablo's comments, it has a will of its own, and it seems it has awoken in Rey and is guiding her, and she's kind of caught up, and absolutely is caught up because she beat him.
Yeah.
She beat someone, a pupil of Luke's, without any training.
Yeah.
I don't think we've thought a whole lot about that because that's pretty huge, and I think that's why maybe he says that this is so much bigger. The Force is. They've always seemed to the Jedi almost in an arrogant way that they're wielding the Force, that they're able to command it. And I love Obi-Wan when Luke is talking to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan seems he's more seasoned. He's thought more and meditated more on the Force, and he says so. The Force controls your actions, and he sort of says, in part, that it doesn't completely control your actions, that you still can exert some of your own will over it. But I think Luke's evolved almost beyond that in a sense, to where the Force is really, it was calling out to Rey. It called out to her. It gave her a vision out of nothing. And I'm not sure that she had, I'm sure she was Force sensitive in a sense, and we know from that one novel, oh gosh, well, the novelization of Episode 7, that she was a renowned sort of warrior. You didn't mess with Rey, on Jakku. So, I don't know, man. Yeah. So where does Luke? How does he train her? How is it going to be different? Because Rian Johnson, one of the things we were going to talk about at the beginning of this was that Rian Johnson's comments basically say Luke is going to train her.
Yeah, there's going to be some sort of training,
but it's going to be unlike anything we've seen before. And I don't have his name here. Oh gosh, dang! I'll look for it in a second while you're doing something else here. But there's someone in our comments completely agreed with us on the whole Force choking thing.
Yes,
and was like that. It's probably that Luke is probably training her in a much more vigorous, holistic way.
I think,
almost maybe triggering her. Maybe he has to, trigger. She has to be put in these situations where to get that Force vision. Maybe he had to take her to her limit. Push her to her limit.
He knows that if his father, Darth Vader, had not had a change of heart, he would have failed. He wasn't ready. He had so much faith in his father turning that he just completely ignored everything else. The Emperor was very strong.
Yes.
And I think he still remembers that.
I think he does. Yeah, and I think he has to make, He has to train Rey for all of those things. We have no idea what Snoke is going to be like, power wise, which is kind of scary. I don't know if he's going to be as powerful as Palpatine or what. Is he just this master manipulator behind the scenes? Also, look at his scar. We were talking about his scar today and how we thought that perhaps Luke and he had fought before. Maybe he was a part of the Academy at one point and he fell away.
Could have been.
And then seduced everyone else. I don't know. I still think he comes from the unknown region, and Thrawn and those guys have discovered him out there after Aftermath. I'm a big believer in that.
Okay.
Yeah. But now, we have talked, and they've asked Rian Johnson and different people about the gray side of the Force. And they all seem to be shying away, saying, like, that's really not where they're going.
Because it's
with
much,
this.
yeah.
Maybe because it's more than that.
It's
I don't know.
much bigger.
Much bigger, yeah. But Skywalkers have always been those people who sort of walk between the light and the dark, And so I think that's what Luke is doing now, and he's sort of walking that in between, knowing both sides in a sense. But I don't know. That's why it was so easy for Ben to be seduced by the dark side. I don't know. I think Leia's going to have a big role in this. What do you think about that? Leia's going to be. She definitely has to confront her son. I think. I think she has to, or she has to talk to him in some regard.
I agree, especially since we were confirmed that she's not going to be in Episode 9.
Yeah.
That has to happen here, then I would think, and I think she has to talk to Luke.
She has to have a big role in this. Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't even be surprised if she communicates with Rey when she's on Oct 2. And Luke's telling her, going through all this training, and she maybe is communicating with both of them, and they're saying we got to destroy Kylo Ren. Maybe she's trying to convince them otherwise. I don't know, man.
Well, look at Episode 5. I mean, Luke communicated to Leia. He was able to reach out to her. How did he know to do that? What was it? That's where I think the Force is this unseen character that kind of comes in and it's guiding these. Our protagonists, and so I do think she's able to communicate with Luke. Maybe he shut that off, or maybe there's going to be a desperate situation where she has to, call out to him or to Rey, or just sense something that Snoke is doing and warn them, perhaps. I'm not sure. So,
it's her involvement's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Now I think that we know that she's not going to be. At least they said Carrie Fisher was not going to be in Episode 9, whether they recast her role or whatever like that.
I don't think they would do that, but
I can't imagine that.
No, so I think it's going to be huge. I think this is going to be the end for her too, though. But that's a whole nother video.
Yeah.
So, sort of our last question to sort of think about here: no Jedi Order. All right, we have no Sith Order. The Jedi Order had a code which they lived by.
Yes.
And what is it then that Luke Skywalker, I mean, he is a Jedi. I'm guessing he's following the code. He's the last of the Jedi. So, but what standard does he set for Rey? On the light side, does she sort of get to define these new parameters? What do you think? I mean, is she...
I kind of think so. I just had a thought in my mind that maybe he went back and read these old, manuscripts or something that even, Yoda read. And he's thinking, when I was talking and training with Yoda, I didn't really dig too deep into the Force and its history and things like that. So maybe he kind of thinks, he's going back to those old manuscripts. Maybe he thinks, I need to go back here, but Rey is the one convincing him that it needs to be something different. So maybe it's just the opposite of what I initially thought.
So instead of Luke being the one pushing us towards the Jedi need to end, you think it's Rey?
I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. I think from the trailer, it seemed to be really...
He says it needs to end.
He seems to be settled in his mind that he's learned something that indicates to him that the time of the Jedi is over. It's time for them to end. He will be the last one, which is just mind-blowing to me. It's crazy.
That's true.
But I wonder, what is the new code? What do we live by? I mean, I think that's going to be established, and probably not in the actual films. I'm sure there's going to be side stories and books and things. Probably after Episode 9, I think we tell a whole story of Episode 9.
Yeah.
Where Rey, comes out victorious in a sense, and then she starts a new order of some kind.
Does she?
That operates on the light side of the Force.
Does she?
I think she does. Please don't tell me Rey dies in Episode 9.
I don't think it's possible she dies, but does she stay light, man?
I think she does.
Know.
I think she does. I think she's going to evolve for sure, but she's our protagonist. I think the real conundrum that what we look at and we kind of wonder what's this character going to do is Ben Solo.
That's all. Yep.
I think that's where we're kind of like, how does he with Mom? It looks like he does have a showdown. If you watch the trailer, and he's sort of twisting his lightsaber. I mean, he looks so angry. I think that's definitely
towards Luke.
That's Luke. Yeah, he's upset with Luke, and he's coming. And I think, and someone else made a comment in our last video, and they said, what if Luke just like, we don't see him use the Force really at all? He's just sort of talking and coaching Rey through and training her, sort of like Yoda did. Yoda uses the Force one time to pull the X-Wing out of the swamp, but all of a sudden then Luke has this showdown with Ben, and he's just like, all of a sudden like the ground starts to just sort of quake, and like pebbles are rising and stuff, you know.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, he's just extremely strong with the Force, which I think the Force to balance itself out, since you don't have so many Force-sensitive people, I think that's what's going to have to happen. I think Snoke's really powerful, and I think so is he. I think Luke coming back to the Resistance gives them a really big advantage, and so does Rey. I think Rey needs to start to do what Luke Skywalker did with the Rebellion. I mean, he did things that other people couldn't do. He makes the impossible shot and destroys the Death Star. So he's able to rescue his friends and things. I think she has to have a big moment where because really she was just rescued. She was rescued in Episode 7, and then she has a big showdown with Kylo Ren. But I think she's going to have a moment where she saves something or she does something really epic in either Episode 8 or Episode 9. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but look for that. I think that's going to happen for sure. So... all right. Any other thoughts on just Rey?
I want another trailer.
Rey's training. I want another trailer too. I know.
It wasn't enough. That I saw.
There are more questions now than there were.
Yeah.
To be with, which is great. I don't want them to give away everything. I want to be surprised, like Mark Hamill wants us to be.
Yeah. There's a video out there that showed both trailers side by side.
Oh yeah.
And they're
pretty much
cut exactly the same.
They had the same person to the trailer, I'm sure.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I want to know more. But the shots we saw, man, make it seem like it's very much like Episode 5.
You think so?
I think so.
A lot of parallels.
I really do. It's kind of concerning.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I go back to what you said. I think Rey at some point will influence the Master, or maybe not influence, but will go against what the Master recommends. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Have you ever seen two actors come out like they did and say how much they question the script?
No, I haven't. I was actually just thinking, getting back to that thought. Why did they do that? I mean, Luke Skywalker is he is Star Wars. Yeah. And I think Mark Hamill is really concerned. What I don't think they know, what Mark says that he can't see, is the music and the other shots. I mean, like Daisy said, she went in one day and was talking, and she saw something, and she's like, oh, wow, that's cool. That's making sense. Yeah. But... also, they don't know Episode 9. They don't know the whole story, and they're not sure where this is going to go. So that's in the hands of Story Group as well, not just Rian Johnson.
That's true.
They had to have worked on this script and talked through these things. So all of those folks need to.
That's true, because Hamill himself, Mark even told us that he wasn't aware. Just in his one little scene, what Luke's role was in the future and things like that. So you're right; they don't know what's coming in Episode 9 or anything like that. So maybe that's why they're kind of confused or not really feeling it.
But we could be in a dark place with Luke for a while in this movie, and then come back to the light. But I don't know. I want the Last Jedi. If you are the Last Jedi, this is what's so confusing to me: is if he is the Last Jedi and he's following the Jedi Code, then he can't turn to the dark side. He doesn't dabble in the dark side. He's supposed to be. He's allowed to be.
People and
prequels.
So I mean, is he?
Did he? No, it looks like he did. It's just that when he walked into jail. Well, I mean,
they were grabbing their throats.
Oh yeah, he did. But I don't think he meant to. And who's to say a force choke is a dark side power? Okay.
All right, we'll let the folks comment on that.
It is. He's not using force lightning, as far as we know. But
that's true.
So I don't know. But I still think though, it sort of worries me that if he's the last Jedi Knight and he's training Rey, he's supposed to be our good guy. He's supposed to be our Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what I'm saying?
Or does he train Rey and he perishes and she's the last Jedi? I just don't see Disney abandoning the thought of Jedi. There's too much investment in this franchise.
I know.
Look at the hat you're wearing.
I know.
Look at the jacket I'm wearing. Like,
I know.
I just don't. I don't know, man. Yeah. They may be leading us to believe that this is the end. Him saying the Jedi need to end, the movie being called The Last Jedi.
Right.
But maybe she knows the Jedi to be legends.
Yeah.
She understands the history.
Right.
Her and Finn know that they were.
But what concerns me about what you're saying is that then it goes one of two ways. Yeah, is that Mark Hamill's the Last Jedi and he trains her to be something new, but he goes on to Episode 9. If he's the Last Jedi and he dies in this, it's a whole movie about him and he doesn't move on, then he dies.
Yeah.
Then he dies and Luke is gone, and then the whole last movie we don't have any of those legacy characters except for C-3PO and Chewbacca, maybe, depending if we can get Peter Mayhew to be in that. I'm worried about it, man. I just think, wow, I don't know. Actually, I take that back. So I guess I forgot Force Ghost. He could come back. He could come back as a Force Ghost, exactly. Which would be cool because that is what Obi-Wan did. Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan's killed in 4. Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe I got you.
So she could be the Last Jedi.
She could be the Last Jedi. Wow.
Or everyone survives. They're both the Last Jedi.
Maybe. I mean, at this point, Snoke might as well be the Last Jedi. I don't even know. They've got us really. No, stop it. They've got us so confused.
You might be onto something there.
I don't even know.
Or is Ahsoka the Last Jedi?
Actually, you know what I really thought when I first saw this? I was thinking this redemption story of Kylo Ren. I thought, boy, what if Ben Solo ends up being somehow?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. I just don't know.
Be kind of cool too.
I also like what one of our viewers said about Anakin's redemption story. Took 6 movies. You know, the first 3 are his fall, and then we get some of his redemption through Luke Skywalker, his son. So if Ben is falling to the dark side and he has fallen and he is going to be this, antagonist, that's what he is, and we're not going to see any redemption in 7, 8, or 9, which. Then I don't know. I don't know what happens.
I can't even imagine the cliffhanger there's going to be for Episode 9, and then we're going to have to wait several years.
Yeah, we have no idea what's going to happen. That's just way out there. So
it's crazy.
All right, guys. Just talking a lot about Luke Skywalker, what he's going to do, what he's going to be like. I got really nervous. We were on the way home from Celebration, and I saw those comments, and I was like, wait, whoa, like, why is Mark Hamill saying this? And he would probably be harping at me for stop speculating, wait for 8. He has the hashtag wait for 8, which I'm with him. I don't want to know too much, but I do just like to talk about it with my friends, and I like to think about it, and it's fun.
It is fun.
So it's enjoyable.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, guys. You let us know what you think in the comments. What is Luke doing? Is he the Last Jedi? Is Rey the Last Jedi?
Where's
what
the
heck's
green
going
lightsaber?
On? Where's the green lightsaber? That's coming out for sure.
I hope.
That is coming out for sure. I know it. So, but anyways, let us know what you think. And again, if you're interested in us reading your Snoke theory, hit up Patreon, or if you just want to give us some questions for our light speed round, which we'll be doing in the next podcast, just let us know. Get on Patreon and hook us up. All right, thanks so much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for more content. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Okay.
Erica.
Now, you might have to sit down on the couch and read so I don't get distracted, or I will be of no use.
Yeah, we can't have you back there flaunting all that, know.
Just saying.
It's
the mad tree talking.
Mike gets a little easily distracted during these videos.
Daddy, we love to party.
You ready?
Nope.
Hey, Star Wars fans. Nope. I'm so nervous.
Sweating.
Woo. I'm thinking about having to cut this up later.
It's going to be great.
Hey, Star Wars fans. Welcome back to the... Okay. It's just taking me a second.
I don't know what's going on. It's all the lights.
Oh, man. It's the easiest intro in the world.
It is. It's literally just, hello.
Hello. How's it going?
And we can't get it right.
Hey, Star Wars fans, welcome back to...
It's the beer.
Now I can't fucking... I actually know what I want to say. I just can't stop.
Just pretend like Erica isn't back there.
I know. I think that's what it is.
It is. Okay,
She's making me nervous.
Good. I have headphones if you need them.
Look at me wearing myself off.
I'm sweating.